What is up, everyone? My name is Jack Saffel, back again with another WrestleMania review, and today I'm here by WrestleMania 13 review taking place at the Rosemont Horizon in Chicago, Illinois. Now, 1997 was a very important year for the WWF. This was the year where many people consider this as the year that the Attitude Era was born. Now, I wouldn't say that this WrestleMania was the starting point of the Attitude Era. I would say maybe around when D-Generation X was getting formed, like Shawn Michaels and Triple H were coming together and doing some really edgy type of stuff. But that would happen before WrestleMania 13. So this was like a weird grey area. It reminded me a lot of WrestleMania 9. Fortunately, this show is way better than WrestleMania 9 in my opinion. But as it's kind of stuck between two time periods, like WrestleMania 9 was like the death of the golden era of the 80s and early 90s and the beginning of the new generation era. To me, this was kind of like one of those shows as well, where the new generation era was starting to die down and the Attitude Era was starting to rise. And this was definitely one of the many nights that would set up probably the biggest period in wrestling history for the WWF anyway. So on commentary tonight we have Vince McMahon, Jerry the King Lawler, and Jim Ross on commentary. Pretty solid threesome right there. We kick things off with the #1 contendership match for the WWF Tag Team Championship. It's a fatal 4-way elimination. It is the Godwinns with Hillbilly Jim in their corner taking on the Headbangers, Mosh and Thrasher, versus Doug Furnas and Phil LaFon. Never heard of these guys before. I'm guessing they were just a one-hit wonder. I don't know. And the new Blackjacks, which made up of Barry Windham and your boy Bradshaw himself. Oh man. The rules were whoever got tagged had to fight each other, even teammates, which I thought that was a stupid rule. Like, why would you... The one thing I can't stand about these fatal 4-way tag team matches, why is it that only 2 people can start in the ring? That makes no fucking sense to me. Why can't it be just a normal fatal 4-way match and have one person from each team? Because in reality, why would you want to tag in the other 2 teams at any point? That's just fucking stupid. But that's just a dumb rule WWE makes with its fatal 4-way tag matches. But anyway, getting to the actual match, which was alright for an opening match, I guess. Windham and LaFon fought to the outside, and the Blackjacks got eliminated by DQ after attacking the ref, while LaFon got counted out. So, thankfully, the proper match didn't end in a DQ or a count out, so it was just those two teams getting eliminated. Vince not being aware of White Zombie actually got a little bit of a chuckle out of me. This was when rock music was like so popular at the time of bands like and I loved the Headbangers gimmick as well. They would come out dressed in like these not skirts, but like, I don't know, yeah, they were skirts, I don't know, and they wore rock group t-shirts that were popular at the time, like White Zombie, Marilyn Manson, Metallica. Like, by the way, Thrasher, I think it's Thrasher, at WrestleMania he is wearing the exact same Metallica shirt that I have at my house. I own the exact same shirt as him. So, next Halloween, I'm dressing up as WrestleMania 13 Thrasher. So, yeah, easy Halloween costume right there. So, both men fought until Thrasher hit a Cannonball Senton to get the win. So, yeah, I've always had a soft spot in my heart for the Headbangers. As a fellow metal fan myself, it was cool to see that kind of a gimmick in there. So yeah, Headbangers got the win and would face the tag champs at the following Raw. So after that was an Intercontinental Championship match. Good old Rocky Maivia, who would later become Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, but this was when he was just little Rocky Maivia with his terrible haircut, super smiley baby face, even though the fans were just not digging him, man. They were chanting, "Die, Rocky sucks," all this kind of stuff. Like, I don't know, his character didn't really come off as genuine, which I think is why the fans booed him, and I think Rock himself even knew that. But yeah, he was Intercontinental Champion. WWE were ready to push him at this time, and he was taking on the Sultan, who was secretly Rikishi, wearing like he was like some rejected Mortal Kombat character. It was really weird. And the Iron Sheik and Bob Backlund were in their corner, which was also weird. The match was fairly okay. Maivia hit a flying crossbody to retain his Intercontinental Championship, and then afterwards, the Sultan and his managers attacked Maivia until his dad, good old Rocky Johnson, tried to make the save and eventually did. So, yeah, obviously The Rock would have much more significant matches in the next couple of WrestleManias, and he'd become one of the biggest names professional wrestling has ever seen. It's so weird seeing The Rock at this point in his career when he was just starting off as Rocky Maivia, and to see him eventually in the next couple of years progress into one of the popular, if not the most popular star in all of wrestling. So, yeah, it was from a history standpoint, it was cool to see. What was also cool to see from a history standpoint, Hunter Hearst Helmsley with Chyna in his corner. So already the small seeds were planted for DX and the Attitude Era at the time. And he was taken on Goldust, who had turned babyface from last year, with Marlena in his corner. And Chyna was basically brought in as Hunter's bodyguard. I believe him and Goldust had a match at the Last In Your House show, and Chyna came in and like basically bear hugged the shit out of Marlena. So she was just this gigantic, jacked up woman. Like she scared most of the men. She would not be afraid to kick the men's ass, you know. She was a bit of a trailblazer of her time, you know. I don't know why she's not in the Hall of Fame yet, you know, not to point fingers at any reason why, but anyway, so it was a decent match overall, and it ended when Goldust picked up Marlena and placed her on the ring apron to keep her away from Chyna, but then Hunter pushed Goldust, which caused Marlena to fly off the ring apron and get caught into Chyna's bear hug, so Hunter hits the pedigree to win the match. So, yeah, decent match overall. And also as well, just a fun little bonus here, this was the birth of Shawn Michaels' AOL meme, which has been seen across the internet a few times, so yeah, I love that meme. The tag team titles were on the line. Owen Hart and the British Bulldog defending against Vader and Mankind with Paul Bear in their corner. Paul Bear turned on The Undertaker at SummerSlam 96 to join forces with Mankind at the time, so there was a bit of animosity between Owen and the Bulldog at this time in the build-up for this match. I loved seeing Owen Hart thinking it was so cool with his 2 slammies. He was so proud of himself, man. Owen was just a great character, and it hurts even more that because of his death, we'll never get to see that character, you know, shine. We never got to see what could have been of Owen Hart, but seeing like stuff like that just makes me miss him, man. Bulldog and Mankind fought on the outside, and Vader hit Bulldog with Undertaker's urn while the ref was distracted. I loved Jerry Lawler's little commentary line on Helen Hart. He was like, "Oh, Helen's wearing some antique jewelry. Bought it when it was new." So that was a funny little line there. And so Owen gets caught up by Vader's force and falls into Bulldog and Mankind outside the ring, with Mankind locking in the mandible claw on the outside, causing a double count out. So, yeah, thankfully this was the only count out ending of the show. I just don't like those type of finishes at WrestleManias. I just don't. So, but overall, the match itself, pretty damn good, I will say. Just not a fan of the ending. I just hate count-out endings at WrestleManias. But you know what I didn't hate, though? The submission match. Holy sheep shit on a shingle. Bret the Hitman Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. Ken Shamrock, a UFC legend, who would later get signed by the WWF as a special guest referee. If you guys have never seen this match before, if you're new to wrestling and you're like, oh, what matches should I get started on watching as the all-time greats? This is probably one of the first matches you need to watch, because this match is wrestling perfection. Like, it represents everything I love about pro wrestling. So, the build-up for this as well was fantastic. After Stone Cold's infamous Austin 316 said, "I just whipped your ass" promo he cut after winning King of the Ring, he kept taunting Bret Hart and challenging him to a match at Survivor Series. I remember him even saying, if you put the letter S in front of Hitman, you have my exact opinion of Bret Hart. I fucking love that, man. The shit man, Bret Hart. After returning from an absence after his match against Shawn at WrestleMania 12, he accepted the challenge, and they had a match at the 1996 Survivor Series, which Bret won. They were the final two men in the Royal Rumble match as Bret threw Austin out, but due to the refs being distracted with a brawl between Mankind and Terry Funk, they didn't see it, and instead Austin threw him out and won the match. So Austin would then cost Hart a shot at the WWF title on Raw after winning it the previous night at In Your House Final 4, and after losing a steel cage match for a shot at the WWF title or something like that. Vince McMahon went to interview Bret, and he basically had just pushed him because he had become fed up with what the WWF had kind of become, because that was when the changing period had come over. He had the philosophy that, oh, the WWF's all about now, you scratch my back and I stab yours, basically. And so, when he got upset at Vince McMahon, Vince asked him, "Oh, you seem a bit frustrated," just pushes him to the ground. Frustrated isn't even a goddamn word for it. This is bullshit. You keep turning a blind eye. Everyone in that dressing room knows that I'm the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. And if you don't like it, tough shit. So, wow. Yeah, Bret just cut an explosive promo that night. It was probably one of his best in history because of all the passion he had, As for the match itself, what hasn't been said about this match? It's already been said. So, Austin arrives, and I love how they have the glass with the Austin 316 over it, and then it smashes as he walks through. It's one of them. It's such a simple entrance, but it's so badass, man. It fits Steve's character so well. Like when Vince McMahon says, "You talk about in your face," that is who Stone Cold is. Abso-fucking-lutely. And as soon as Hart makes it to the ring, Austin goes after him as the two fight on the outside, even into the crowd, and then both men brawled back into the ring, with Hart going after Austin's hurt leg, even applying a submission, wrapping his legs around the ring post. And then Hart wrapped the chair even around Austin's leg and was going for his middle rope elbow drop. And before he could dive in, Austin escapes and just smacks him in the head with the chair. And then the two would fight on the outside again, including Austin getting busted open, which would then lead to the amazing moment later on. So he tries to even choke him out with the electrical cord, but then Hart smacks Austin in the head with a ring bell, escaping it. And then, yeah, the infamous moment of Bret locking in the sharpshooter on Stone Cold Steve Austin, and you can see Austin's face covered in blood, screaming, doing everything he can to make sure he doesn't lose the match. And even though he tried his hardest to power out, it just wasn't enough. He passes out, and Bret Hart wins the match. And then Bret, for some reason, just attacks Austin's leg even more. But the referee, Ken Shamrock, just basically grabs Bret Hart and just fucking suplexes him like he was a piece of shit. And he's just squaring up with him. He's like, "Come on, fight me, Bret," and all that kind of stuff. But Bret's like, "Nah, you good, mate." And he just walks off because he knows that Ken Shamrock would fucking beat the shit out of him. Because, by the way, Ken Shamrock, he was a big, beefy boy. Let's just say that. And so a ref tries to help Austin get back onto his feet, but he just stunners him and just walks out himself. So yeah, we got the double turn in this match. Austin was the heel going in, and Bret was the babyface, and then the roles completely reversed after Bret basically just attacked Austin without having no need to, turning him heel, and he would go on to be like the Canadian lover, and just him hating America basically, and even forming the Hart Foundation with Owen, British Bulldog, Jim Neidhart would even return, and even Brian Pillman got in on it as well. So that would continue until Survivor Series 97 with the Montreal Screwjob incident. But, yeah, this match is just everything I love about pro wrestling is in this match. Great build-up, great characters, brutal action, you know, just two guys with a problem with each other just fucking going at it, man. Everything meant, all the hits meant something, you felt them. There was just a classic moment of just Austin's face dripping in blood. It just made Austin's character, it helped him become the toughest SOB. That's pretty much the match where he got that thing from, as the toughest son of a bitch in wrestling. And it just took Austin's career to new levels. If he wasn't over before, he was over the fucking moon at that point. So yeah, not only does this match do wonders for Bret Hart's career, this did so much for Stone Cold, man. And he would just, after this match, especially at next year's WrestleMania, he would become an integral part of that show. So after that, we get the Chicago Street Fight. The Nation of Domination. Farouk, Crush, and Savio Vega, with Wolfie D, JC Ice. They were the two rappers that would come out. They would rap during their entrance. D'Lo Brown in a suit, because why not? And Clarence Mason, which was like their manager. And they were taking on the Hometown Boys, the Legion of Doom, and Ahmed Johnson. And this was basically WWF's attempt at an ECW match, basically. They knew... they actually had ECW guys appear on one of their episodes of Raw when they were at not the Hammerstein Ballroom, but at the Manhattan Center. They would have the ECW guys show up and do a little bit of invasion to promote the Barely Legal pay-per-view, which would take place a month after WrestleMania 13, so they gave them a bit of a heads up, which was all cool. And the two teams basically hit each other with everything, including the kitchen sink. So 2x4s, trash cans, fire extinguishers, road signs, all sorts of things. And by the way, poor Farouk, Animal went to go for a pile driver on the announce table, but just completely slipped and botched it up. But to get payback, Farouk wraps a fucking noose around Hawk's neck and tries to choke him with it, which is just a lovely sight to see. But then Hawk pulls him out of the ring with the rope because he was on the top rope, and he pushes him off and just basically thud to the ground. So Doomsday Device on Crush and the use of a 2x4 to get the win in a pretty fun match. I actually really enjoyed it. The rest of the Nation of Domination tried to attack after the match, but then completely failed. So yeah, fun little trash hardcore wrestling match there. That was just their attempt of doing an ECW match, basically. And then we get to the main event for the WWF Championship. Sycho Sid defending against The Undertaker. So, Shawn Michaels, 1 month after losing his smile, joined commentary for the main event. So, yeah, it had been a month or so since Shawn Michaels made his losing his smile promo, I guess, where he relinquished the WWF Championship. Many people had said it was because he didn't want to drop the belt to Bret Hart again at WrestleMania 13, which I do believe, because Shawn had a fucking ego on him, and they just did not like each other at all, man. And of course, that would boil over at the Survivor Series pay-per-view with the Montreal Screwjob. Because before the match can even get started, Bret Hart comes out and rants to HBK about faking his little pussyfoot injury and losing his smile. And then he rants at Taker for slamming the door on him in the steel cage match on Raw, which he flipped out on Vince at. And he says to Sid that he's a fraud and doesn't deserve the WWF title. So Sid's like, nah, fuck you cunt. Hits a fucking powerbomb on him. And the match, honestly, after Bret left, it wasn't that good of a main event, I will say. It wasn't the worst thing ever, but for a main event, it just wasn't that exciting, personally. Bret Hart interfered again, distracted Sid, which caused him to get tombstone, and he lost the WWF Championship to the dead man himself, the Phenom, The Undertaker. And the good thing about this, though, at least The Undertaker won the WWF title and had a fairly decent enough run with it, because I think, yeah, he won the championship for the first time at Survivor Series 1990 against Hulk Hogan, only for him to lose it at the This Tuesday in Texas pay-per-view back to Hulk Hogan. So that was basically pretty useless for him, unfortunately. But it was great to see Undertaker get his WWF Championship moment at WrestleMania. If anyone deserves the WWF title, it was The Undertaker, especially with the amount of great feuds he was having in the build-up for this. It was a long time coming for The Undertaker, but you know what? He became one of the biggest legends in all of professional wrestling. And WrestleMania, the streak helped a lot. This was his 6th victory in a row, the 6th of many wins for the dead man. So yeah, that was what wrapped up the show. Match of the night. What do you think? What do you think is my match of the night? Austin versus Hart. No need to explain why. How I'm going to rate this show, I thought it was really good. I thought it was really damn good. I thought it was good, actually. I'm going to give it, 7 out of 10. Yeah, let's give it a 7 out of 10. You know, it was a pretty fun show. The main event was a bit, it wasn't that good. But the Bret Hart-Austin match was one of the greatest matches of all time. The street fight was fun, you know. Mostly everything was pretty fun, you know. So nothing really to complain there. Obviously, there was no match that like stood out in front of all of them except for the Bret Hart-Austin match. So, yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you have enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like. Comment down below your thoughts on WrestleMania 13. If you want to see more from me, hit that subscribe button. You'd be glad you did. Twitter and Instagram is at JackmanLaw31 if you want to check me out there. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm out in 3, 2, 1.